This is just last week of preseason camp. What's sort of the agenda this week? What are you trying to accomplish with this final week before you get into a week of game prep?
Yeah, just like fine tuning on details, solidifying spots on the roster, staying healthy, and but still, preparing your bodies for a live contest, and then we'll get a jump start on Indiana State. Probably introduce them tomorrow, so we'll get good work.
Well, what have you learned, Ryan, in almost 3 weeks of practice? Biggest couple of things you've learned.
We're a lot deeper than we were a year ago. We addressed the needs that we needed. Obviously from a year ago. I'm happy with the morale of the locker room. Happy with the buy-in. I'm excited to go play.
Talk about the needs. Offensive line clearly was one based on injuries, if nothing else, last year. Thoroughly upgraded that room, but it seems like you have a lot of versatile guys. You've seen Wingfield play multiple positions, but Keene was playing with the first unit today. As a whole, how much of an upgrade was that unit in terms of talent and size?
Yeah, and like you said, we definitely have added a lot of guys in that room, and the guys that we had a year ago have all gotten better and gotten healthy. So just much more depth, and so when you get to your second guy or your third guy, some positions even, you still feel comfortable, calling it the way you would call it with your starters in there, and those guys are doing a hell of a job.
How much does it help that Gus, Musa, and Bo have played a lot together in games, and then obviously Jalen last year as well?
Yeah, it definitely helps just with the chemistry and the communication, and everybody being on the same page. There's a sense of calm with that group. Not a whole lot of mental errors, and they're communicating with Huddy and the running backs at a high level as well.
Was there like a load management with Jalen today? Even though he was out here, but we didn't see him in the
Jalen,
on the offensive line.
He played today.
I don't think we saw him during that period we were out there. But anyway, I'm wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, he played all practice.
What are the importance of getting Kendrick back out here today? Obviously, we saw Cam for the first time since the first practice.
Yeah.
Jaden Dixon-Field was back out here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, these guys need some work before you start preparing for Indiana State full go next week.
Yeah, it's just good to have them out here healthy. Just getting them back used to covering and communicating and playing fast. So, obviously wanted to take our time with reintroducing them to practice, just to make sure that we're not dealing with knick-knack injuries throughout the season. But he looked good today. He looked like he had fresh legs, so was happy that he was out here.
Do you think either of your units has an advantage early in the season of maybe getting up to speed a little quicker between offense and defense?
I don't know, man. There's been good back and forth. That's what I've liked is when plays have been made on both sides, they've been competitive plays. And so guys are where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, and it just comes down to, who's going to win their one-on-one matchup. So I don't know. It just depends on the day, really, or the situation. There's been good back and forth all camp.
Any surprises, Ryan? Anybody who's caught your eye that maybe you weren't suspecting that could end up playing a role this year for you?
Shamar Rigby has been a guy who, anytime you bring in a freshman, you just don't know what they're capable of. Especially, he got here. He wasn't one of the guys that was in an early enrollee. But I anticipate him playing significant minutes for us. He's a talented kid and very, very bright. Guys that have sort of stood out that we knew were going to be good, but have sort of exceeded expectations up to this point, I would say, is like Will Helt, for instance. Like he has matured, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster, he's more confident, more explosive, and really understands what we're doing defensively. So those are just a couple guys that sort of flew under the radar that have caught everyone's attention in the program.
When you're looking at nose tackles, a lot of times in the Big Ten you don't think 6 foot, 270, 280, but Mo is exactly that, and able to use his lack of size almost to his advantage a little bit. What makes him stand out maybe as an undersized defensive lineman?
Yeah, just his effort, his attitude, his motor. I mean, he's going 100 miles an hour all the time. So every snap, you're going to feel all 288, and and you know everything that he's got in there. So you know, also another guy that doesn't make any mistakes, and is a leader in that room. You know, happy he's on our team.
When you guys were making the decision to move KJ to Mike, how much did you have to consider whether he could handle the communication aspects of that, the kind of cerebral aspects of that?
No, we weren't worried about that. He's a smart kid, so we weren't worried about that aspect of the game at all.
I guess I'm not asking you if you were worried about it. I guess just what did he have to have, I guess, in order to fit there in that way?
Well, the question I had was, would he be able to handle it from an athletic standpoint, like playing in space, you know, the reads and the keys and the communication. That was never a question, just because, like I said, he's a bright individual. It was would he be athletic enough to be able to play sideline to sideline and make open field tackles, and he definitely is.
Well, Ron, just the advantages why you like practicing in the morning, because that typically wasn't the case here, and I'm not sure if a lot of schools do that.
Most schools I've been to, we went in the morning, and just everywhere that I've been that has gone in the morning saw an uptick in academic performance, which has also been the case here. You know, we've had back-to-back semesters of, you know, breaking the academic records here, you know, because I think at the end of the day, you're not as gassed, right? Like if we're practicing in the afternoon, you know, do you go to that 8 o'clock class? Like, I don't know if you're getting yourself out of bed and going to that 8 o'clock class. And then you're done with us at, you know, 5:30, 6 o'clock. You know, you're probably tired now because you've gone through a whole day. So you're going home and maybe get on a video game and going to bed. Well, you know, if we got a 7 a.m. team meeting, like I know you're going to make class at 12 after practice. And then your day's done at, you know, 4:30 or 5. You're still awake. So you got chance to do extra rehab, chance to come back and watch extra film, you know, chance to get extra studying in. So I just think you maximize the growth potential throughout the day. You maximize the 24 hours if you're able to do football in the morning.
Coach, how do you feel about the week 2 bye at this point? Are you warming up on it, coming around to it?
I love it now because of the, you know, some of the knick-knack injuries we've had. You know, when it came out, obviously you're like, dang, I wish we would have just keep playing. But you know, with some of the soft tissue injuries that we've had and some of the guys that are just banged up, you know, having that extra week before we get in the thick of the season is beneficial from a health standpoint.
What does DJ Wingfield provide for you guys offensive line?
You know, he's definitely got experience and versatility. You know, he's playing anywhere from right guard to left tackle, and he doesn't miss a beat. He's also emerged as a leader within that group. You know, he's a strong kid, got good athleticism, and communicates at a high level. You know, really pleased with what he's brought to the table since he's been here.
You said last week you expected Corey Stewart back for the Indiana State game. Is that still the case?
Yeah.
What about George Burham?
Yep.
When you got the job and you had, you know, you start going out to visit the guys who were already committed for that class, how quickly did you go see Dylan and what was, I guess,
the first day? The first day I was out, you know, I made sure to hit all the in-state guys, and on purpose I didn't watch the tape. You know, I wanted to provide everybody with an opportunity of, you know, if you committed here and wanted to come to school here, before I got the job, I wanted to provide that opportunity. And so, you know, on purpose, like I said, I didn't watch the film, and then I got to meet everybody, and I'm like, wow, like everybody passes the eye test. So then I went back and watched the film and was very happy with what I saw, and they have, you know, they've brought value to the program almost immediately. That class has, and you know, that class will always be special to me because they took a chance on me.
Were you, how aware of him were you for that? Because Illinois had offered
Zero.
him.
I hadn't watched the tape, didn't know who he was. You know, we didn't recruit this state very heavily when I was at Illinois for whatever reason. You know, it wasn't my decision by any means, but just what it is what it was. So, you know, it was very, like I said, you know, I met him, met Will Helt, met George Byrne, met Winston Berglund, you know, saw Jerron Tibbs. I was like, holy cow, these guys, they looked the part. Just when you're shaking their hand and you go back and watch the tape, and it backed up the validity of having a Big Ten offer, and I was happy they decided to continue their commitment here.
Teron Grant was a guy that reclassed, obviously.
got here a little later. Just what have you seen from him, and how quickly has he picked up on some of the things that you guys want to see out of him?
Yeah, I mean, from an athletic standpoint, he's exactly what you want. He's 6'2", 188 pounds, and runs like a deer, can change directions. The thing I've been most impressed with is his willingness to learn, and the time he spends, away from the practice field, just on working on his craft. I can't tell you how many times I saw him in the indoor this summer, just going through reads and keys and footwork drills and getting with the older guys to try to understand his scheme and going through player run walkthroughs. And so, he knows the defense in and out. And, when he's out there competing, he competes at a high level.
Anything else for Coach?
Could you close in a little bit on Reggie Love's role? He seems to have embraced it. He said he's here for it, whether it's special teams or 40 carries. Do you know, on which end of the spectrum was Logan Paul?
I mean, him and Mocker are 1 and 2 running backs. In this conference, you want to be able to split carries, just with the amount of physicality that you're going to see week in and week out.
So you've been looking for as 50-50 as possible, maybe?
Yeah,